It's got to be heart attack city every time. West Virginia pulls off the win against Cincinnati. Are we inching closer to a tournament bid now?
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up? Welcome back in, guys. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am the host, and this is Locked On West Virginia. Man, too close for comfort. West Virginia wins this game 62-59 in what would end up being a barn burner. West Virginia up 9 with less than a minute to go. Almost goes to overtime on a catch and shoot three with 3 seconds to go. Incredible. It was great theater. As the freshman from Cincinnati, Reed misses Betsy at the very end misses the three to tie this game, send it to another overtime, which West Virginia did not need. Javon Small is running on empty. His ankle was not right. You could tell in the second half. I feel like that really threw us out of rhythm. We are nothing. We are nobody without Javon Small. No surprise there. So overall takeaway from this game is West Virginia is just not the same offensive team that it was earlier in the year, and there's a lot of reasons for that. I think this team is running on empty in a lot of ways. I mean, you play with 8 guys game in and game out. You're deficient in some areas. Like we needed KJ Tenner to come in and guard Jizzle James at some points tonight, who was several inches taller than him. Just wasn't really fair, and they took advantage of that. But to hold a team to 59 that scored in the 80s its last 2 games is really good. So we'll take that. For Cincinnati, they had 3 or 4 guys really play well tonight. Dede Thomas, Dylan Mitchell, Jizzle James, Dan Skillings, all played well for the Bearcats tonight. And Bondago with the 10 boards, tipping it back out, tipping it back out, tipping it back out, tipping it back out, tipping it back out. I mean, it was insane. Second chance after second chance after second chance. Very frustrating, man. Very, very frustrating. At the end of the day, it's a W for the West Virginia Mountaineers. I know Darren DeVries probably aged about 30 years in this game. This game would have really made it hard for West Virginia to make the tournament in the regular season. Obviously, the Big 12 tournament is still there, and you can make your hay in that. You win it, you're in no matter what. But, I mean, even if West Virginia lost this game and won maybe 1 or 2 others, then, in the tournament, then you're still probably in a good spot. But I don't know, man. Yeah, I look at this situation and I'm just glad that we won the game, and I really was impressed with Amani Hansberry tonight. He grew up in a lot of ways. He really did. Proud of him. Really needed the game that he had. He had 17, 13, and 2 tonight, guys. That's big boy basketball. He was the best player on the floor outside of Javon, right? Look at Jonathan Powell with 12 points and 9 rebounds. That's great. 16 points, 4 assists, 3 boards from Javon Small. So time after time after time, we got big plays from the guys we needed. West Virginia was down 6 with 8 minutes to go. We go to timeout, and West Virginia comes out of there on fire, man, and ready to rock and ready to roll. It was really great to see that. I don't really know what to expect from this team game in and game out. This game was honestly closer than I thought it was going to be. I thought West Virginia would win this game by 8 or 9 points, which they basically should have. But it was close throughout. We didn't pull away till the very end. So Up next on the docket, West Virginia's got Texas Tech, who is, one of the 2 or 3 hottest teams in the league, and in all of college basketball. You look at their last few games, they just lost to TCU, which is just a weird one. It was at TCU, though. They beat Oklahoma State by 40. They beat Arizona State at home. They lost to Arizona, so they have been beaten 2 out of the last 4 games. Before that, though, it was they beat Houston, they beat Baylor, they beat TCU at home, they beat Oklahoma State, they beat Cincinnati, they beat Arizona, they beat Kansas State. They went on a tear, and they've got wins over everybody in the league this year, literally everybody except us and maybe Kansas. I don't see a Kansas game on here for them. Looks like they may have missed them. So it's going to be a tough matchup for us. I'm going to be super interested to see what happens there. I'm seeing the reports, guys. I'm following it. I will get to it in segment 2. When I see it from somewhere. Let me go to Matt Zenitz here, and we'll see what's going on. I did a video on it earlier. I guess there's no need for me to do another one this close together with another with the same video, basically, about Chad Scott. But we'll get there. I don't see anything yet, but I'm assuming that Voice of Morgantown's reporting it, so maybe it's done. Anyway, let's talk basketball for a few more minutes here. So I think going forward, I do this in every game. I think West Virginia is solidly in the tournament as of right now, as we speak right now. After this win, it's a quad 1 win for us. Worst, it'll be a quad 2 by the end of the year. And it was very much needed. It could be a dagger for the Bearcats, which makes me happy as well. So you hold serve. Now it's the same thing we've been talking about here. You got to hold serve at home. So that's West Virginia. You beat Cincinnati. You go on the road. You're probably going to lose to Texas Tech, unless I don't doubt this team, but I'm just saying, playing the averages, you're probably going to lose that game. Then you've got TCU at home. You got to hold serve there against a team that's been pesky for people here lately. And then you go on the road to BYU, who just beat Kansas by 40, which is wild. And then you got Utah, who that game was wild too. We play. I don't look forward to playing them on the road. And then you got UCF coming. So if you can just get any combination of 2 wins now, you're in. Maybe even 1 with our resume. If you beat, let's say your one other win is Texas Tech, you're in. I think you can get him with 17 wins now with Texas Tech. That would be 4 top 10 wins, 5 top 25 wins. So that's just insanity. Yep. Okay, guys, let's go to a break here, and we'll get into this Chad Scott stuff. This is Locked On West Virginia. Stick around. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia is going to be brought to you by Return on You. Attention, West Virginia fans, the future of college sports is here, and it is transparent. Before the Return on You app, NIL negotiations often happened under the table, and fans didn't have a clear way to directly support the athletes they love. Now with Return on You, you get to be part of the change and support school, West Virginia in this case, athletes that in the most transparent way possible. With the Return on You app, the NIL app that you love allows you to choose the players you want to support, decide how much to contribute, and receive exclusive content from the athletes that you like. The best part is if your player transfers, you get your money back. It's a no-risk way to show your support. The Return on You app is giving fans control. No more uncertainty. Now you can provide transparent, impactful support and help shape the game and your team in the future of college sports with your contributions. Download the Roy app right now on the App Store and start backing West Virginia athletes the way they deserve, with transparency, trust, and real impact. This is the future of college sports. Join it now by downloading Return on You and supporting your favorite players. And breaking news here on Locked On West Virginia is Chad Scott is out as West Virginia running backs coach. Just an absolute horrible blow to the football team as he's going to take the job at Texas. You know, let's see what this article says here. Anything of note in here? It's just talking about Rich Rod. I have an appreciation for the respect that Chad shot his gun here at West Virginia. Rodriguez said in December. He brings a high level of energy and history of building relationships, developing players. Look forward to having him as our member of our staff. Whatever. I'm frustrated with this. I really thought that he would be a valuable addition. That Rich Rod would eventually see that. And unfortunately, that's just not been the case. This is a big blow, in my opinion. I think it depends on who we lose with him. But I think him as a recruiter and developer of running back talent is going to be sorely, sorely missed. And I don't know what you do from here. Do you give the reins over to Pat White and let him handle running backs? He's coached them before. He's capable of doing it. He's basically a running back. So it's not something that he would be unfamiliar with. Do you maybe bring in a guy like Steve Slayton, or do you let Noel Devine, who's on the roster? Duh, Paul. Noel Devine, there's your running backs coach, I suppose. Bring in Devine, right, and let him do it. So what's going to happen as far as Jaheim White goes? I know that's the question everybody wants to know. I don't know. I doubt he's going to respond to me. I'll text him and see what he says, but I have no doubt that he's probably highly upset right now and doesn't want to make a rash decision. And I'm sure so many people have already messaged him. So I would just be adding on to, what's basically a ton of people. So I'll send him a quick text message, man. I'm sorry. Oh, man, this is hard, guys. Okay. So we'll see what he says to that. I doubt anything. Like I said, he's always been really tight-lipped. I've offered him pretty much everything you can think of to come on the show in the past, and he's just not he's not an extrovert like that. So, he does have an X account. It is at Jaheim White _305. So if you want to follow Jaheim on social media, there it is. Maybe you guys can all jump in his. I don't know if it would be good or bad if everybody said, "Hey, we love you. We want you to stay." He and Chad Scott are really close, like I said. But I think it would be a bad decision if he did this, in my opinion. I really do believe that. I think we'll be fine if he does leave. I'm just going to be totally honest here. I think he can have a special season in this offense, but I also think the guys we brought in are all equally special. I really love the running backs we brought in, but I don't want it to get it twisted and you guys think like I'm a big believer in Jaheim White, and I think he could have a Steve Slayton-esque type season in this offense. I think it's made for him, and I hope he sees that rather than the bad news that Chad Scott is gone. So I don't know what other fallout that could happen from this. Like I said, there are going to be multiple players that are unhappy, but you would think that mostly anyways, that if anybody was going to leave, it would have happened, after Neil, and everybody that's stuck behind outside of Jaheim since then is good to go here, right? So I'm excited about the future of the program. This is a tough spot for us to be in. I'm not happy about it. I know you guys aren't either, but we're going to be fine. $700,000 that Coach Scott is apparently going to have to give us back. I don't know where that money goes. Maybe you get another Maybe you pull another running backs coach from somewhere else that you really like, or maybe you invest that money into rev share. There are multiple things you can do with it. Or maybe you save it for next year. Who knows? But I wish Chad Scott the best. I think he's been an excellent coach at West Virginia. It's not even a conversation, really. He's been elite. And will go down in history as one of the best running backs coaches ever for us. So, wishing him all the best, man. And, I wish we could get J1 Sider or somebody like that, but he just took a job. So that's the spot we're in. And as far as the rest of the roster goes, I think we'll be okay. I don't foresee anybody leaving. Maybe Jaheim White, one or two other strays, but we're going to be fine. We'll bring other players in if they do. Rich Rod will have his team on the field this year and next year and the year after, and we'll see what happens here. But certainly this is a bittersweet timing for all this to happen. Right after the West Virginia basketball team wins a game, Chad Scott decides to bounce. It's rough timing, But that's all I'm going to say on this. I don't really have a lot else to say. I said a lot of it earlier in my earlier video. I think Chad Scott's an elite coach. That's why he's getting the Texas job. You can't turn down the Texas job. You just can't. I mean, how do you? He's going to go on that staff. He's probably going to get some kind of pay raise or raise in stature as a coach. And that's one of the best staffs, if not the best staff in college football right now, certainly top 3. So, it's just a career move that you have to make. So Jaheim White, Chad Scott, as far as I'm concerned, is always welcome back to Morgantown. He did it the right way. Even after he was benched by Rich Rod and Rich Rod said he wanted his guy in, Chad Scott still came back and helped us get through a really tough period with recruiting and keeping players. So we have a lot to thank Chad Scott for. The bowl game, the way he performed. I think he absolutely will be a head coach someday, and I think he'll be a good one. So Raven in the comments, at least Rich Rod's not leaving again. Yeah, that's true. Very true. All right, guys, let's go to break really quick, and I'll sum up my thoughts on the other side. Stick around for that. This is Locked On West Virginia. All right, segment 3 here. Just to recap, West Virginia basketball, man. What a game tonight. Heart attack city down the stretch. Wasn't it nice, by the way? This is something I meant to say earlier before the Chad Scott news hit me in the face. Wasn't it nice to see Fran Fraschilla on the call tonight, where he was actually completely objective to both sides? He said great things about Cincinnati. He said great things about West Virginia. You didn't feel a rooting or betting interest in the game. Both coaches got praise. Fran Fraschilla, in my opinion, is the best play color guy in the college basketball game. And he is a friend to West Virginia. So I love that guy. He's been good to us ever since Huggins. And even when Huggins had his issues, he chose to stay away from it. So thanks to Fran Fraschilla, who has watched the show before from our conversations. I think he's an awesome guy. So would love to have him on, but it's too small for him, I'm sure. I think this was the biggest win to date of the year because the skid this team has been in. We've had bigger wins, but this one's going to be the most impactful, in my opinion, for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's obviously the skid we've been on. I mean, you look at this. Look at our last since Arizona State. You lose to Kansas State. You lose to Houston. You beat Cincinnati, but then you lose to TCU in a game you should have won. You beat Utah in a game that was really hard fought. It's what the score doesn't indicate. BYU in a game that was horribly called. One of the worst games I've ever seen called. Baylor beat you where they score all 9 points in overtime from the free throw line. Just a punch to the gut, right? All 9 points Baylor scored in overtime from the free throw line. Incredible, man. And then tonight, you finally get back on track. Have to keep the momentum going. If you can pull off the Texas Tech upset, you're in the tournament with 17 wins, in my opinion. I think you can either get one of the next three or just two or the next three. Or I'm sorry, let me look back at the schedule again. I'm misspeaking on it. Let's see. You can either get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got 5 left. I think you can get any 2 of the next 5, or just Texas Tech. I think gets you in. As of right now, where we were 16-10, we've seen teams get in with 17 wins before. It's happened, but they've had really solid resumes. I think West Virginia is in that category with what they've done from a winnings perspective. So the only thing I think would keep us out if we beat Texas Tech is the way the schedule shapes up. Unfortunately, like you look at our schedule, we've got Texas Tech next, which means we would have to lose 4 games in a row to end the year. So, I don't know about that. I don't think that would be ideal. But I think if you can beat Texas Tech and then maybe just get another win along the way, you're for sure solidly in. But any 2 wins will do. Just get to 18 and you're there. But I do think if the schedule's a little different, now looking at it, I don't know. If you could beat Texas Tech and get to 17, man, that would be 4 top 10 wins. Pretty impressive, But at the end of the day, this team played well tonight, well enough to win. It was ugly in the second half. First half was pretty nice. Really, really rough first, 12 minutes of the second half. They finally turned it on the last 8 minutes because it was desperation time, baby. You go up 9, and then all of a sudden you look and they make back-to-back threes. It was almost like Reggie Miller all over again. They almost did it. They almost won the game on us there at the end, or at least put us in overtime, which I think we still would have won overtime. But, man, we just can't relax, We can't relax, guys. We can't. We're going to Texas Tech on Saturday. That's going to be fun at 1 o'clock. I'll see you post-game for that. I'm going to try to get a Texas Tech video up tomorrow with Chris Level, who is the voice of the Red Raiders. Just an excellent he's like their Tony Caridi. He's awesome, guys. So we'll try to get him on, and I'll see you then. Thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen, for being part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where we talk about your team every single day. You know the deal, guys. If you can do anything, do any favor for me, make sure you check out Locked On College Basketball for your second listen. Isaac Shade and Andy Patton, they don't want you to wait for March. Be the most informed college basketball fan right now, and find Locked On College Basketball on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. West Virginia wins. The football team loses Chad Scott. It's like a typical West Virginia kind of day. Zach Alley put a little message out. We've got Rich Rod and Zach Alley in front of the media tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be a busy day. Find Locked On West Virginia when you wake up tomorrow, or whenever this news actually does happen. I'll be covering Chad Scott leaving tomorrow more thoroughly. I'll be covering the Rich Rod and Zach Alley situation when they speak for the media tomorrow. And I'll be covering the Texas Tech game as well. A lot to get to, thankfully. It's been a little bit slow here lately. I'll be here. This is my 4th live today. Let's try to beat that tomorrow. I'll see you then, guys. Have a great evening. It's a great night to be a Mountaineer, wherever you may be. Let's crack a do, and I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.